Welcome, dear audience, to a journey of discovery and inspiration as we delve into the book of Genesis. This is where it all starts, the first book of the Bible and a cornerstone of the Christian faith. Genesis, a name that literally means origin, is a captivating narrative that sets the stage for everything that follows. Traditionally, Moses is credited with penning this profound piece of scripture, a book that's essentially divided into two main parts: the primeval history, which explores the dawn of creation and humanity, and the patriarchal history, recounting the lives of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. Genesis is more than just a collection of stories. It's a book filled with profound truths, chronicling the beginnings of the universe, the first humans, the first sin, and the first promise of redemption. Genesis, a book of beginnings, origins, and promises, holds timeless lessons for us. Join us as we explore these timeless lessons and the profound wisdom it offers. Genesis opens with the grandeur of God's creation, a narrative that inspires awe and reverence. This majestic account unfolds with an intricate dance between order and life, between the divine and the tangible. From the formless void of the cosmos, a rhythm emerges, a divine cadence that marks the days of creation. The first day brings light, separating it from darkness. On the second day, the firmament parts the waters, crafting the heavens and the earth. The third day witnesses the birth of dry land and vegetation, while on the fourth day, the heavenly bodies are set in motion to govern time. The fifth day fills the skies and the seas with a myriad of creatures, and on the sixth day, the earth is populated with living beings. But the pinnacle, the crowning achievement of this divine symphony, is the creation of humanity. Fashioned in God's own image, we are more than just inhabitants of this world. We are reflections of the divine, endowed with a spark of God's Spirit and the capacity to think, to love, to create. This bestowal is not without its weight. To be made in God's image carries with it a solemn responsibility. We are custodians of the earth, tasked to tend and keep it, to care for our fellow creatures with kindness and respect. To be human is to mirror the divine orderliness and creativity seen in the creation story, to bring harmony where there is chaos, to nurture life where there is barrenness. The creation story in Genesis is not just a tale of the world's beginning, it's a blueprint for living, a call to uphold the dignity of every creature, to cherish the earth and its resources, to cultivate love and justice in our relationships. It's a reminder that each day is a gift, an opportunity to participate in the ongoing work of creation, to contribute to the symphony of life. In everyday life, we can mirror this divine orderliness and responsibility, cherishing our world and its inhabitants. Genesis also recounts the fall of man, a poignant tale of disobedience and its consequences. In the Garden of Eden, we find Adam and Eve, the first man and woman, living in perfect harmony with nature and their creator. Life was blissful, simple, and pure, but then a serpent entered the scene, a symbol of temptation and deceit. The serpent enticed Eve to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, a tree God had explicitly commanded them not to eat from. Under the serpent's cunning persuasion, Eve succumbed to the temptation, and she shared the forbidden fruit with Adam. This act of disobedience, this fall, brought about a drastic change. The innocence and purity that once characterized Adam and Eve were lost. They became aware of their nakedness, felt shame, and tried to hide from God. A perfect relationship was broken, and the consequences were dire. They were driven out of the Eden, the paradise they once called home. The fall of man serves as a sobering reminder of the importance of obedience. Adam and Eve's story warns us of the dangers of temptation and the grave consequences that can follow when we give in. It teaches us that every action we take, every choice we make, has a ripple effect. It can affect not just us, but the world around us. In the face of temptation, we are reminded to stay strong, to be discerning, and to seek guidance from above. It urges us to think before we act, to consider the potential consequences, and to strive to make choices that align with our values and principles. The story of the fall is not just about the downfall, but also about the lessons we can learn from it. It's a story of humanity, of making mistakes, and learning from them. It's a story that encourages us to rise above our weaknesses and to continuously strive for goodness. In our daily lives, these lessons remind us to be mindful of our actions and their potential impact. Genesis also presents us with the lives of the patriarchs, rich with lessons of faith and perseverance. First, we meet Abraham, a man who demonstrated unwavering faith when he was called to leave his homeland and journey to an unknown land. His trust in God was rewarded with a promise of descendants as numerous as the stars. Through trials and tribulations, Abraham's faith never wavered. His story teaches us that even when the road ahead seems uncertain, faith in God can lead us to incredible blessings. Next, we encounter Isaac, the promised son of Abraham. His life was a testament to patience. When faced with adversities, Isaac did not rush or force solutions. Instead, he patiently waited for God's timing. His story reminds us that patience is not simply waiting, but maintaining a good attitude while waiting. Then we have Jacob, a man who started his journey with deceit, but ended it with a divine wrestling match that changed his life. His story shows us the transformative power of God's forgiveness and grace. It also teaches us that our past does not define our future, and that change is always possible with God. Finally, we come to Joseph, a dreamer sold into slavery by his own brothers. Yet he rose to become the second most powerful man in Egypt. His life is a vivid illustration of God's providence. Even in the midst of suffering and hardship, God was working behind the scenes, orchestrating events for a greater good. Joseph's story encourages us to trust in God's plan, even when we can't see the bigger picture. In our own lives, we can draw strength from these narratives, trusting in God's plan and timing. Each of these patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, they all faced trials and tribulations, yet their faith and trust in God guided them through. Their stories serve as a reminder that God's love and providence are always at work in our lives, even in times of struggle and doubt. So how do we apply these lessons from Genesis in our everyday life? Genesis, the first book of the Bible, is teeming with life lessons that we can draw from and apply in our daily lives. Let's delve into a few of these. First off, practicing patience. Remember when God created the world? He didn't rush it. He took his time, 6 days to be exact, crafting every detail. In a world where everything is instant, patience seems to be a lost virtue. But let's be honest, the best things in life are often those we wait for, aren't they? So let's exercise patience, not just in the big things, but the small ones too. Next, we have the virtue of kindness. When God created man, he saw that it wasn't good for him to be alone, so he created a companion. In the same way, we are called to be kind to others, to be their companions in times of joy and sorrow. A simple smile, a kind word, or a helping hand can mean the world to someone else. Then there's the lesson of taking responsibility for our actions. Remember Adam and Eve in the garden? When they made a mistake, they tried to pass the blame. But God reminded them that they were accountable for their own choices. Similarly, it's crucial for us to take responsibility for our actions, to own up to our mistakes, and learn from them. Finally, trusting in God's plan. Abraham trusted God even when it didn't make sense. He left his home, his comfort zone, because he had faith in God's promises. Similarly, in the ups and downs of life, we're called to trust in God's plan, even when we can't see the bigger picture. Genesis, while ancient, speaks to our modern hearts, guiding us towards a life of faith, responsibility, and love. So let's live these lessons from Genesis, not just read them, because after all, isn't that what they're there for? Genesis is a treasure trove of wisdom and guidance, waiting for you to discover. It's a beautiful tapestry of tales filled with lessons that echo through time and resonate within our hearts. Whether you're a believer seeking deeper understanding, or a curious soul yearning for profound narratives, Genesis holds a wealth of knowledge for all. Dive into its pages, immerse yourself in its stories, and you will find yourself on a journey of self-discovery and enlightenment. From the creation of the world to the trials of the patriarchs, Genesis offers a glimpse into the human condition, our shared history, and timeless truths. This book, like a trusted friend, is there to guide you, comfort you, and challenge you. It invites you to ponder, to question, and to grow. So take the leap and delve into the world of Genesis. May your journey through Genesis be enriching and illuminating. Thank you for joining us today, and until next time, stay inspired.